Hello everyone, it's Tuesday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Morayo Afolabi Brown. And always I have the ladies. Hello.
Hi.
Good morning.
Hi, so what's making you laugh?
The way I'm sitting up, like, you know, you've sucked the entire belly into the intestine.
Are you wearing a girdle?
No, I'm not, but, you know, I'm trying to fake it. You know, whenever I'm sitting on this edge and I watch the repeat and I'll see my stomach sitting on my chair, and I'm like, I'm not fat. Why? Why does this happen? I'm not fat. Where does this stomach want to go to? So today, we have held it in, chest it out, everything to make it look good. But yesterday, you know, I made the comments towards the end of our hot topic section about the fact that people shouldn't quarrel in front of their children. And I guess people felt I internalized it. Okay. You know, like I should understand that parents quarrel, but I was young, and we shouldn't assume that children would be young enough to understand that these parents would get over the quarrel. Just don't quarrel in front of your children, because you try as much as possible. Don't have those interactions that are like voice raised as much as possible. It is difficult because I, from personal experience, know that I took sides when I heard them arguing.
But I think what is also important is that if it does happen, explain to the child what just happened. Like both of us just had an argument.
Yeah, very true.
And we've been able to resolve it. You know, so get to because I always have that. I always have to go back to say, when I see their reactions, I say, listen, Daddy and Mommy disagreed on this. There's nothing wrong. We're going to resolve it. You know, that's just it. So once they understand it, they don't make it an issue. Elijah.
Did you even watch the show yesterday? Because I know you were sleeping.
I did. I caught it late. I missed the banter. Okay. But I did. For the first time in a long time, I actually had sleep and I was rested. Really? I felt rested. My husband was wondering, this morning, are you not going to go to work? I said, because usually I'm up at 3 and I was up at 4. I left the house very early. I didn't carry all my air pass that I used to have. It was really nice. The roads were, usually the traffic was starting to build, but I escaped it. I left much, much earlier and there was still traffic at Mautu. The usual one, the yellow buses causing traffic, not the trucks. The trucks are parked, but it was moving. Right.
Someone
should do something to sanitize. We'll take it in the papers.
She said something that made me remember something, but it's okay, let me not go there.
Go there now.
Anyway, no, because like, I remember my mother was waking up pretty early too back in the, as a child. Because they have to pray at 5. So early morning was like a normal thing there back then. So you said,
for prayers, my body is used to that, but that much earlier time I have to do without chores and all that.
I don't have a problem waking up early.
It's really nice.
Just the traffic.
I'm not a morning. You can't pay me $1 million to wake up early. Now that I have a baby, I have to wake up early. But usually
when you
I'm not
start
a morning
working
person.
out like talk, but you have to wake up early. I heard her saying she worked out.
It's a standard.
You have to wake up early. Whether you're
I mean,
I don't work out. Sure.
I have to wake up early. I have no choice. But the truth is that I'm not a morning
But
person.
naturally, I am a morning person. Even before exercise, I wake up smiling. Like I wake up with like, that's my, I'm not gonna wake up. My husband is always booting. He's waking up, he's booting.
I'm an owl.
Me, I wake up like
early, but I stay late.
I can stay out late till like 1 o'clock.
I
can watch a movie.
Yeah.
When the kids go to bed, and I'll go downstairs. I'm watching my movie and I'm just relaxing. No noise, nothing.
It's really nice.
How are you doing?
I'm doing amazing. I'm doing great. Yesterday, I received a letter from an NGO, Empowered Initiatives for Change, and I was nominated to be, or appointed to be, their life coach for the
Wow! So you're getting jobs already.
I'll be handling their personal development, career development, and relationship. It's an NGO that's working towards empowering women and children.
Is that what I do? Let's forward on this lady.
Fantastic, well done.
Glad to serve, really.
You know, but I really, BC has been, Obiajulu BC has been doing this for a long time.
Yeah,
but you know, she mentioned this, said that she wanted to get professional. Right. And the difference in being professional, we can see already.
Fantastic, well done.
Put in the work.
Wow.
I was telling you that a lady came to my house yesterday to do a research. She's a German lady. She just came and through my neighbor, I said, oh, they're doing a research on electricity in Nigeria and they would like to interview you. Just entered my house, interviewed my husband very quick. I told her I didn't want to be on TV because I'm always on TV. Let my husband do the interview. So, like 10 minutes they were done. So Sheon took her card from me. I know millennials, they're very curious. She quickly Googled the person. And I found that this woman is not a small person. She's a big journalist from Turkey. I mean, she has been arrested by Al-Qaeda, kidnapped in Syria.
Wow.
You know, they had 21 days under the ground. She's been, I mean,
that's huge.
And I was like,
I'm
and I ran outside. I said, please, where is the white woman that was here? They're like, we didn't see her. I think she went that way. I started looking for this one. Please, you have to come on this show.
She's your view guest.
I missed her, yeah, but I would really, really like to have her.
I wish her card you could.
I have
Email
a
her or
card and
something.
I'll send her an email. She's still,
She's still around.
It's real nice to have her because obviously she's been through quite a bit and she's just a young lady.
I was having a chat yesterday about defining success, and somebody was saying that not everybody will be Dangote and Otedola, but that success is that you have grown in your field. That lady is successful.
Right.
You know, she doesn't have to be the Christian Amanpour, but she is successful because she's been able to take stories of people and she's gone through the process. You know.
Okay, so I've started getting the announcements around my family that when I put in Tobio. So I'm getting that information. So I'm going to start my keto very soon. No, feel. They have started telling me the information.
What do you feel?
I feel that I'm still nursing and I'm entitled to.
So go ahead.
I'm entitled to.
No, you have started abusing this nursing thing.
I'm entitled to for the next 6 months.
Do you know baby is just 4? She's not 4 months yet.
It's 3 months.
The baby is just 3 months.
Who has been abusing this nursing excuse? It's not an excuse to eat anything.
I just can't stop eating. I honestly, sincerely.
But that's cravings are for pregnancy, not for nursing.
No, when she was pregnant, she didn't have cravings.
Cravings
So she's
for
having it.
pregnancy, not for
So
nursing.
they started telling me.
Thank you for those of you telling her the truth that.
There's nothing
Because I
like
saw it
that.
yesterday.
She's looking amazing.
Don't mind. I agree with you. They lied to me. I understand. Let's go on a break, Jerry. I know how to get it back. You know, we know how to get it. So when that time comes,
Been there,
I'll
done that.
We'll go on a break. When we come back, we'll go through the front pages of the newspapers. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Say this guy won't annoy me. Okay, let's start with The Nation today. Whatever happened to Punch?
It didn't show up today.
Yeah.
Punch did not show up. Okay, 3 governors, ministers in race for Buhari's cabinet. The Nation. 11 die, 47 injured as vehicles crash into Easter procession in Gombe, Adamawa.
Oh, so sad.
JAM cancels UTME, results in 2 centers. Son sells mom, 60-year-old mom, for 7 million naira in Ondo. Wow. 1.92 trillion naira share to 3 tiers of FAC in 3 months. And budget padding, Saraki replies Tinubu. Let's start with the major headline. Look, let's start with human interest story first.
So this particular woman, 60-year-old woman, has a hunchback.
Had that. She's dead, isn't it?
Yeah, she's dead. Had a hunchback. And then the son sold her for 7 million naira because to some ritualists who wanted to make money out of her, only for them to take her there. And they found out that the hunchback wasn't natural, that it came as a result of a domestic accident. But then they had killed, according to the story, they had killed a woman. So they came back and they were requesting that the boy refunds them the 7 million naira. And the boy is saying that you guys have to return my mother alive. Meanwhile, he had already spent the money even on the woman to buy her clothes and renovate the house before she died.
Yeah.
So the case is being investigated at the moment.
Poverty again?
Yes. So
is it poverty or greed?
No,
It's greed. It's greed, right?
It's greed.
See, there's a line, because we keep saying maybe there's always an underlying factor of poverty. A lot of people are going through poverty and they have dignity.
They're able to control themselves.
They are able to control. Right. So greed is greed.
Let's stop using poverty. It's more
as
of
an
greed.
excuse.
Greed. Okay. The major headline: 3 governors, ministers in race for Buhari's cabinet. Obviously, everybody wants to get on that ministerial list.
No, but they're trying to get the presidency to switch. So we had less ministers in this current administration. Yeah. So now they want him to go back to the 42-man government where you have 1 person from every state and then you have 6 people from the geopolitical zone. I love the fact that the president was able to shrink the past administration, this current one, into being smaller. I wish we can even shrink it further. Let's not get bloated because we don't have money yet. So I know that people are hustling and they are really hustling. The nation is saying
current ones that we have are now trying to retain their jobs.
Yes, and that some a former military administrator, women are asking for more strategic positions. That I second.
Yes.
Don't
give us all those funny ministries.
Yes, a woman doesn't only have to be a female minister for women affairs. We can have women in other areas.
Yes.
However, I think that based on the merit of how well they've done, everybody is going to submit their reports tomorrow, April 24th. They will submit their reports, and then based on how well they've done, and then our own assessment of it too, should determine how they go
Let's move on now to the Nigerian Tribune. Saraki to Tinubu, leave me out of your scheme towards 2023. Warns him against interference in the 9th National Assembly leadership process. Says accusing him of budget delayed pardon is a concocted narrative. Son sells hunchback mom for ritual killers. We talked about that already. Northeast crisis, Buhari not sleeping on duty. Man set himself on ablaze in Ebonyi, says he's tired of hardship. Boko Haram activities now restricted for the 100th time since Buhari. No, he didn't say it for the 100th time. Burata is telling us again that Boko Haram activities are now restricted. FAC dispersed 1.9 trillion naira to 3 tiers of government in 3 months. Right. Let's start with this man who set himself ablaze. What's that story about?
This happened in Ebonyi State, a 30-year-old man who, according to the story, was frustrated about life and decided to tie himself up and set himself ablaze. But he was he lost his life. But then when they came to rescue him, they found that he had already tied up himself, and they had matchboxes, and fuel around the area where it happened, just very close to a primary school.
But
some people are saying that
they
suspected
mental illness.
He's always been having signs of that before.
Let's take the story of the Northeast, because the Special Assistant to the President on Media Affairs, Shehu Gaba, signed a letter from the presidency in reply to the Catholic Bishop of Yola Diocese, Right Reverend Father Stephen Mamza, who said that the president, he said it angrily during his Easter address, that our president is sleeping on the duty of protecting Nigerians. He's a sleeping on duty commander-in-chief. So, Gaba Shehu is replying, saying that no, the president isn't sleeping on duty. A lot has been taking place to protect Nigerians within this current administration. But let me just quote what the bishop said. He said, there is so much that has changed in the past 4 years in Yola and around the church in particular, showing that the administration hasn't done much. So he was speaking for his immediate environment and how within the past 4 years things have gone from bad to worse in its immediate environment. So the president.
And let me connect that to the story with I think it's Alhaji Muhammad, who was saying yesterday also, I think it was in the Sun, that the government has, they shouldn't judge the government by the amount of arrests made on corruption charges, that they've set the foundation for corruption, for the anti-corruption drive. That's part of the TSC accounts, the whistleblower policy. So many things have been done to set the foundation. And with the corruption fight to get more ferocious in the next 4 years, hopefully so.
4 years to set foundation.
That's well, in other words, possibly. Okay, there's a story I really want to take. The major headline, Saraki to Tinubu has that story.
Oh, yeah. So, Saraki was replying Senator Bola Tinubu on what he said concerning the National Assembly and how this current National Assembly has been a stumbling block in the path of the government achieving their success. And he said that his reply was that Senator Bola Tinubu should base his statements on facts. The reason for delay was that first, the budget was delayed in being submitted. There were distortions within the budget, which was why they delayed it.
But the interesting thing he said that was really interesting was the fact that Senator Bola Tinubu was just trying to lay his foundation for 2023 by knowing that the leaders of the House of Representatives, so the House of Assembly and the Senate are his people. Period. That's the nutshell of what he said. That's the juicy part.
That's not the nutshell. That's the juicy
part. Okay. Daily Sun. Moving on. Bloody Easter. Security agents kill 11 as Galilee procession ends in tragedy in Gombe. How federal government, states, local government shared 8 trillion in 2018. Let's see. 2019 elections. We transmitted results to INEC servers, says presiding officers. Corruption war will be ferocious in the next 4 years, says federal government. I just talked about that. Saraki replies to Tinubu, and Boko Haram activities now restricted, says Buratai.
Let me take the major headline. I've been waiting for it.
Bloody Easter.
So an Easter procession of the Brigade Boys was happening somewhere in Gombe. And this NSCDC officer and a police officer friend of his, not on official duties, were driving through. They stopped, spoke to the procession, the boys, and waited for them to go ahead of them, according to the witness report, and then drove into them, killing 11 on the spot, injuring many more others. And the angered boys, in anger, lynched the 2 of them. So we cannot have the other side of the story, but this led to a serious mess at that point. I saw the TV coverage of the incidents, and I saw those survivors, the way they were crying and very injured. I wonder what would have motivated the the driver of the two officers to wait and then drive into
the sad part is that we can't get that other side of the story because jungle justice took place. Yes. There will still be justice without them lynching those two people.
Right.
But it's really painful because according to the story, they said that by the time he went back after the discussions with the boys having the rally, went back, he put off his lights and then rammed into them. And then about 30 of them were injured and taken to several hospitals. So
really
Christian Association of Nigeria is saying that they don't need to fight because the boys, it took time for them to hold the boys down. So they don't need to.
No, they were provoked. When something like that happens in their presence, you usually understand.
Okay, unfortunately, we have to move on to the Vanguard. Tinubu attacking me cause of 2023 ambition, Saraki. Ohaneze Cakes as Oni insists Igbos are from Ile-Ife. Admission by INEX ad hoc staff vindicates Ose's PDP. And how tax force personnel extort money from truck owners. From Ose's truck owners. So I think Nima will take that story. But let's start with the Ohaneze first.
Yes, so the Oni of Ife.
Oni.
Jesus.
I know that one.
The Oni of Ife hosted the president of Ohaneze Ndigbo in Lagos, Chief Solomon Ogbonna. And he was telling him that the Igbos are from Ile-Ife, that they share the same family ties, and so they should learn to live together. Though there was no response on his part, we do not know what will come out of this at the end of the day because
I read the response from Ohaneze. So the Oni was saying that we are family, we are one family. That Igbos are from Ile-Ife originally. That even the kola nut you use that you cannot do without is grown only in the Yoruba land. That you are part of, you are from this part of town. Ohaneze said in response, saying that actually the Igbos are the original owners of Yoruba land.
Jesus.
It was you people that came. In fact, Oduduwa himself, na Igbo man.
Hey! This is
so it was the Yorubas that came to their own land.
And drove them
but
away.
You know that rather than just arguing this based on folktale and stories, it is DNA can prove it.
But you know what?
Yes, DNA
said
can
that
actually prove
his name is Eniton. He was born to tell stories. So he has all this information. He knows the history. He knows the mystery of the past. So he has come, he's given us
valid information. Back it with scientific facts.
At the end of the day, we are all united.
There are facts to show
in peace.
That these people copied a lot of cultures.
Who is with the people?
The Igbos. No, a lot of cultures. A lot. A very okay, talk about facts to compare similar words, copied words that they use and their custom. When they pray, what do they say? He said, okay. No. These truck owners, hell, when I swear on the show, I said, people making profit from this hardship, people will wonder what I mean. So we found out, according to Vanguard, thank you so much for this report. Vanguard did a very, very insightful report on this, went there extensively and interviewed truck owners and found out they pay from between 10 to 20,000 to be able to pass through to the port. Wow. And the excuse that the authorities have given us so far is that there's bottlenecks. They didn't tell us. Starting from second rainbow, they have to start to pay to pass through. Tax force official, they pay tax force official who make money from this hardship and pack them indiscriminately on alternative roads, on the main roads, on the service lane, so that other car users are stuck there suffering, not understanding why the truck owners seem insensitive to our right to pass the road. But this Vanguard report has exposed everything. And the effort of the Navy, the new head of the Navy, AO Akpan, to sanitize that area has only been effective between the Navy barracks and Kirikiri side of town. He has had meetings with them, they've accused and counter-accused each other.
Somebody can work.
It can actually work. Yes. The report is saying that, this is corruption at the height of it. The hardship is due to corruption, and I would expect whoever is in authority to do the needful. Right. To sanitize that area. Right, this is an insightful report that they can investigate further.
Nima is happy with Vanguard this morning.
God will bless
because Vanguard has exposed your people.
Yes.
Hopefully we'll get some results and solutions in that area.
Yes.
All right, we're going to end paper review at this point. When we come back, we have a lot of healthy topics to discuss. First, we're talking immunization. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So, female circumcision is apparently not going anywhere anytime soon, despite the awareness of the dangers that surrounds it. Report has it that grandmothers take advantage of their female children, visiting them to circumcise them without their parents' knowledge. Joining us on the show is the founder and director, Ladies Circle International, Ayodeji Bello. Welcome to the show.
Okay.
You can call us on 070-806-68014. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. I didn't think I would be talking about female circumcision at this point in 2019. I thought that by now there's enough information out there, not just of the fact that there are health hazards, the fact that it's actually demeaning to the woman herself. In your work, tell us how far concerning female circumcision, what has been done, where do we have it high, where do we have it in our society that is really high, that is prevalent, and what's your group doing about it?
Okay, Nigeria has the largest percentage of female genital mutilation cases worldwide because of our population. Because it is believed that over 200 million women and girls have been caught in the world. So because of our large population, we have huge number. But Osun State has the highest prevalence of female genital mutilation. Where I work in Ife, because Osun State has the highest prevalence. We have in Oyo too, followed by Ekiti, Ondo, Ebonyi, and Imo.
You could almost say it's a Yoruba practice.
It's not really a Yoruba practice. It's actually a universal. It's everywhere.
Okay.
It's just that according to this NDHS statistics, which is the most recent, and that was in 2013, so Osun State has the highest prevalence. And how are you working with the communities?
What are you doing? Because we have Oni there, we have the governors there, we have the local government chairman. What are you doing? How are you engaging the government to assist you in this work?
It's been tough because Osun State has a law against female genital mutilation, which is more than 10 years old. So for Osun State to still have the highest prevalence of female genital mutilation, you can tell that it's a lot of work. It shows that the laws are not really functioning in the communities. So what I do is, through my initiative, we sensitize the community members. We do lots of community dialogues to sensitize the people. So I work directly with traditional rulers, traditional birth attendants, medical practitioners, so because those are the major stakeholders in the community to actually help end female genital mutilation. When it comes to female genital mutilation, I think what we need is more of a behavioral change, because
Go ahead.
what we need is a behavioral change, because fine, at first we were claiming, okay, maybe if there was a law, female genital mutilation would end, and that was why.
Yeah, let me let Nima jump in here.
So this is your view, and it's a large platform. I know people in Osun or here and a lot of places are watching.
Yeah.
I want you to tell us a major problem that arises from this in the lives of the girls. And maybe you have a case in study, a particular person you've dealt with. Because we know medically a lot of damage is done. I just want you to highlight maybe one case that you've had.
Okay, there is actually the long-term and the short-term effects of female genital mutilation. There are cases of death. We have records of people who died through female genital mutilation. One interesting case I handled was a girl who got pregnant at age 17. It was a case of teenage pregnancy, and her mom said that it was because she wasn't caught, and she was forced to be caught in her second trimester, yes. Whoa. And it gave her lots of issues. She ended up losing the child. She bled for a very long time, and it was a very, very terrible case. So I think the reasons for FGM actually cause more harm than the effect itself, because the reason why they're actually practicing it is something we need to change, because if we don't change it, we can't stop it.
What's the reason?
So they feel, okay, to end promiscuity. In some communities, it's actually a passage of right into adulthood. In some communities, some people even say it has religious backing. Some people even say there are too many myths. Yeah.
I was concerned when I heard that grandmothers, because I know that when you have, like I'm in a family where the grandmothers are still very much alive and strong. And I know that it's very difficult to change their beliefs. When you're telling them, okay, don't do the baby like this anymore, this has passed. They're telling you, no, I did it to your father survived. I did it to your mother survived. This is the tradition. So what are the plans you've put in place to make sure that you change the mindsets of this?
One thing I've discovered is the best thing is actually sensitization, talking to them. One thing that has worked so far is actually one-on-one discussion discussion, and then even parents taking their stand. In fact, these grandmothers, they've grown to the point that they won't even tell you they want to circumcise the child. In the process of beating the child, turning them, dragging the bones, now they don't even cut again. They now deaden the nerves. That's type 4. So they put their hand in warm water, and then they deaden the clitoris. They deaden it till you can't even feel anything.
Jeez.
That's worse. So that's worse. That's really worse. Since you don't want them to cut, because when we even tell them to stop female genital mutilation, they don't really understand. They think, okay, maybe because the objects are not sterilized, and that's why community members are actually putting more pressure on medical practitioners. In fact, once they know you're a nurse, they will come to your house in the evening. Because when we're having meetings with the medical practitioners, they said, it's not their fault. It's the demand. It's not about the money.
Wow.
So it's sorry, it's the demand. So they keep demanding. They come to your house because they know at least you're a nurse. Help us do this thing. So it's an age-long practice, and it's a lot of work.
Well, we also have situations where the fathers, because sometimes they are the main influencers. Because if you talk to the fathers, they can influence the mothers, the wives, and how to stop this practice. What are you doing in that regard to get the men to understand? Because a lot of times, once the head of the home understands this whole initiative, they can actually influence.
The issue surrounding FGM actually concerns everyone, and there is a network. We have men involved in ending female genital mutilation. In fact, harmful traditional practices as a broad case is so wide that when you're trying to discuss one and think, okay, we are growing out of it, and then you have other issues pulling you back. So when it comes to men, I think, of course, they have major roles to play. We have men working to end FGM. There are lots of them out there, particularly youths working to end female genital mutilation. But I think everybody needs to be involved, youths, and I think it's best to actually catch them young.
So that we are very clear, because we don't have too much time. Help us understand again the effects of doing this to a young child, because there are people out there that they just know that it's tradition. They don't know the exact details of what they are causing, what they are causing to this child. So could you just give us those points?
Okay, when I campaign against female genital mutilation, I go through 2 points, which is the legal and the medical aspect. If the government says that something is bad, I think it is for our own good. And since there is a law, there was this VAP Act in 2015 during President Goodluck Jonathan's administration, although it's yet to be domesticated in the states. And we have states with laws against female genital. In fact, the VAP Act says that you're liable to pay 200,000 naira or 4 years imprisonment or 4 years imprisonment. So although there has not been cases of prosecution, I wish we could have cases of prosecution. Maybe others will learn. When we see that one person has gone into prison because of female genital mutilation, because when you circumcise a girl, when you circumcise a female child, because some people even do it at age 16, 20 when you want to get married. Some people do it at age 5 where the child can still remember. So let's even leave the medical aspect. She has low self-esteem. She has psychological issues. You know, she remembers the pain. And then she can have obstructed labor when she wants to give birth, hemorrhage, excessive bleeding, keloids, you know, urinary tract infection. You know, it's of no medical benefit. It is of no medical benefit.
What are you doing so far to get some of these practitioners arrested? Because I'm sure you would have interfaced with a lot of them.
Yes, we have had programs with police. You know, when you... The system, I don't want to...
we're in Nigeria, we understand. We are Nigerians, all of us are Nigerians.
When you report a case of female genital mutilation, we don't handle it like rape. Even rape, they are not handling well. We don't handle it like...
That's where if there's a law, in Osun State, for instance, there's a law against it. Of course. You can partner with the government to ensure that, you know, you get your cases prosecuted.
We have partnered with Ministry of Education, Ministry of
Health. Let me take Mohammed. Mohammed is a holding for Mohammed, are you still there? Sorry for keeping you. I'm sorry, Mohammed. Go back to this partnership, because it's really important.
Yes, when we go into the communities, we make sure we go with the law enforcement. That's why I said I work with the stakeholders, the traditional rulers, because they are the custodians of culture. And then we've had even the Oni, he has supported my programs. I've done lots of projects in Ife. In fact, there was one we had in the palace. That was International Day of the Girl Child last year. That was October 11th. And we had massive turnout. We had schools and different people. These people hear these things. You know, as an NGO, to get their attention, we give them materials. So they are particular about the souvenirs we want to give them. We need them to change. You know, even though we have international donors pumping funds into this thing, we want to see results of what we actually doing, because there was a time I was so relieved that these people they've stopped. You know, I was already slacking until different cases were coming up, and I'm like, really?
So in
it's
your
a lot.
own personal opinion from being there, does it happen more with children or with adults? So that
More
you can
with children. In Osun State, it happens more with children between ages 0 to 7 days old.
Wow.
0 to 7 days old, yes, for Osun State. But in the north or in the south, they're actually 16. I was talking about my friend who studied in Bristol the last time I came here, and she said she was traveling home to come and get herself caught. So it's not even about being in the village. It's the mindset. So it's the mindset, yeah.
I think I have Adamu. Adamu, are you still there?
Yes.
Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please, from Yobe.
Hello? Hello?
You're live,
Hello,
Adamu. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, my contribution is that female genital mutilation, apart from the surgical,
So
Lines out today.
So
Right, so I mean, this must be really hard for you. Especially when you have
In fact, I'm young. They tell me, what do I know? So because you have gone to school and you can speak English, come on, get away. But we try to, so that's why I try to climb on shoulders of people.
Maybe if you had victims.
There are survivors. There are survivors working with me. There are victims working with me.
And they are able to share their stories.
They share their story. Of course, we've gathered success stories, I won't lie. But the prevalence is disheartening. You know, especially Osun State, I mean, they're good with education. We have lots of institutions there. Their WAEC results used to be. So it's not a function of education. In fact, I'm trying to understand where to tackle it from. Because the religious angle, we've had chief imams, we've had religious leaders say, okay.
We'll continue to support you here,
no
on your view.
yeah.
I mean, as much as you
It
need our
has no
support, we
scriptural
have to round
backing.
up on this. But definitely, you can count on us to support you. Especially
Definitely, because the media, we cannot underestimate the use of media in our campaign. To
let us know, I mean, as often as you need our help, we definitely want to continue to help you out in any way we can. But obviously, the issues of female genital mutilation is not something we should discuss at this time. And Osun State and Oyo State and other states that you mentioned, they're boying. We need to take the campaign to the doorstep. And maybe we should also look for other ways, not just, sometimes people don't really listen to their leaders anymore. They just want the souvenirs, as you said. You have to find other ways of getting to them.
In fact, if they cite you that you don't have souvenirs, they won't come out. If you go to some communities.
Okay, we'll run some ideas, bounce some ideas off you. But thank you so much for coming to share your views on this. Let's go on a break. When we come back, as I say, it's a healthy Tuesday today. We have so many health topics. I think immunization should be next. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Okay, thanks for staying with us. My enemy is the one of the immunization. Because I have a 3-month-old baby, but we'll do it later. We'll jump into drug abuse now. So the abuse of drugs has gradually eaten deep into our society. A lot of young and even older people have found succor with hard drugs. What leads most of these people into drug addiction? How are they rehabilitated? Joining us on the show is the Program Director, House of Refuge Freedom Foundation, Dr. Olayinka Jibono. Welcome to the show, madam.
Thank you.
You can call us on 070-8066-8014. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. All right, so we treated drug abuse recently, obviously, because young kids, we heard in the university, kids were having group sex and they killed the Tramadol, vodka, and I think cocaine, together. This happens prevalent in our universities these days, and it's really, really painful. I know your foundation has done a lot of work. We see it online, getting people off the streets. The most recent that we heard about is the girl from Vivian Fowler. What's her name again? Lizzie. So you've done a lot of this work. I want to start from the beginning. Why is your foundation interested in these young people on the street? What led to the beginning of this foundation first?
Okay, so the founder of Freedom Foundation, Dr. Tony Rapu, we mostly know him as a pastor, but he's actually a medical doctor as well. He had this vision to help people on the streets, to help people that abuse substances. So his vision is actually to rescue them, and then to rehabilitate them, and then to empower them. So once we go out and get people that use substances, we now take them into rehabilitation, put them in a residential program for 3 months. During that period, we address any concerns, any biological concerns. So we check if there are any medical conditions that might have led them to start using substances. We also address any family history, really dig deep into their biology to see if there's something that predisposed them to use the substance. Then we also do a psychological assessment as well. People start to use a substance for a reason. So you meet someone, person says, oh, if you take this, it will make you happy. Why do you need something to make you happy? Then there's something wrong somewhere. Right. The person is just not addressing it the right way. Right. And the problem with those drugs is that once you start, it becomes an addiction. It becomes a lifelong thing.
So, Dr. Yinka, you are a medical doctor and a clinical psychologist, right? Psychiatrist. So, what I want to understand, especially for those watching, because like every parent out there is worried, how do I prevent my child from becoming a junkie, a drug addict? What are the things that as parents you could look out for based on your experience with these people? What were the things that went wrong with them? How did they get exposed to this thing? At what age was it most prevalent? So that people there can understand how best to, like at what age, what were the things that was going on in their minds when they got introduced to it?
So what we find is that most people got into it in adolescence. The adolescent mind is different because there's a part of the brain we call the frontal lobe, that's at the front of your head. So that part is the frontal lobe. In the adolescence, the frontal lobe is still in its developmental stages. It's not fully developed. And the role of that part of the brain is planning, judgment, impulse control. So, for an adult, you won't be as impulsive as a teenager. So because that part is still in development, a teenager is more likely to try out something. So when you say, try this, because that part is still developing, they're more likely to try it and not think of the long-term consequences compared to an adult. And what we find is people that start really young are those that, get into more trouble over time. So really, so as you were saying, so, sorry, where were we again?
Parents, how can parents understand where it happens and how to prevent it?
Now that we know that it's an adolescent issue, as parents, we need to, right from childhood, while they're still very young, we need to be close to our children. One thing that has been found is that protective homes that are very protective, homes that are very close-knit, homes that your children feel they can talk to you, they can confide in you, they can tell you anything, they can share anything with you. Those homes are less likely to have children that go down that route because at that point when they are offered, drug addicts people that use substances love to share with others. They feel like, oh, this thing I'm enjoying. I want everyone around me to enjoy this thing too. So at some point in their life, they're most likely going to be offered.
I'll come to that because I'll come to both of you. But because I remember I had that offer too as a young girl, and most people. Well, I was offered, and what the person told me was that because I told the person, I don't want to be an addict. I mean, this stuff is really obviously, you guys, I don't want to become a junkie. Yes, I told you I don't want to become a junkie. The person said, am I a junkie? I'm not a junkie. At least I'm having a conversation with you. It's okay, just for you to have a nice time at the party. Because if you're yourself, you won't have fun. Now, so for me it was to do, but I never did it. I never smoked, I never did marijuana, but because I was disciplined enough. But my question to you is, there are lots of young people out there that are being faced with these kind of questions every day. Now, I think the different kinds of mentality or the mental state of a child to know how, because I was able to handle it. I was able to say no. And I was still a teenager. Others can't say no. Sometimes to try.
You've seen junkies.
Sorry?
Maybe because you've seen junkies.
Well, so my question to you is that how does a child know the difference? I say, yes, they're just developing that stage, but there are some children that just seem to know. Someone like a Nima, you can't tell her as a teenager. And she won't just say, no, I don't. Category. So how do you train a child to have that kind of resilience, to say no?
You need to have that conversation early. I think it's similar to when we talk about like abuse, and now the facts or the story or the research is saying that we should let the children know early on how to say no. When someone starts to touch you this way, I think for drug addiction too, we should also do that. Yes, we should have the same conversations with children. We should start early and let them know. So don't take pills. When people offer you pills, even if it's yellow, it looks like vitamin C, it looks like this, don't take any pill. No. Really. Because at some point, someone will say, just try this pill. It's harmless. And trying that harmless might just be the end. So we need to have those conversations early. Let them understand that as long as it's not prescribed by a doctor or your parents are not aware, don't try it. So we shouldn't wait till adolescence. We shouldn't wait till they become teenagers. Let's start early.
Let's talk about the role of the parents, because Dr. Yewande Oshodi was here. She talked about how parents are the ones who, when they are open to use of drugs, dispose their children to this at the end of the day. And the age gap, which you mentioned with the teenage age, the front lobe and all that, when once a child tastes it, they can't get over it. How have you been able to interact with the parents of some of your victims and see the role that they played in the lives of their children to get into that point?
Oh yes, we have that conversation all the time, because when they come to us, they now say we don't know what went wrong, we don't know when things changed, things just spiraled out of control. So we try to take them back to the foundation to take them back. For some parents, you have maybe alcohol is a regular thing in the house. The dad drinks alcohol. He has a bar there. When you finish, the child is curious. Okay, this drink daddy enjoys taking every day. Let me taste this. For a lot of people that become alcoholics, they finish their father's drinks. The dad is not aware. He just drank and got up and left. But he didn't know that his son was always picking it up to finish it. And then by the time he's 20, he's already dependent on alcohol. You know? So we start, that has to do with something in psychology called modeling. So you see people that you care and love doing a particular, carrying out a particular behavior, you now believe that that's how it should be. That's the norm. That's the norm. And then naturally the person just goes in that direction. So we have that. Then we also have parenting. With parenting, we talk about conflicting parenting styles. So we have maybe a father that is very strict, and then we have a mom that is what we call permissive, just anything goes, do as you like. So he goes to meet daddy. Daddy, can I have biscuits? No. Mommy, take anything you want. So when you have conflicting parenting views, it's something we see. It's a constant research, even with research all over the world, it's something. So that's why they say, even our parents, they always say, oh, you and your husband should always be, there's a reason why. If you want to fight in the room. And then when you come up with your kids, when you're with your kids, always speak the same language. There's a reason for it, you know. So you see a lot of these children. And then when they now even start to use, they really tap into that conflict. Yes, you notice that they'll go with that. I want to use, I want 100 now, I want 200, you know. They know you speak different languages, so you, in a way, you're enabling that behavior. They know it's like a loophole.
I am more concerned about people who have been treated, because I know that sometimes they have what you call a relapse. Now, how does your organization work in the sense that people who have been treated and then they are reintegrated into the society, how do you teach them to recognize and avoid the triggers that made them start in the first place?
So that's something we talk about a lot, triggers. So when it comes to triggers, there are external and internal triggers. So with someone that has used a substance in the past, let's just say like an addicted brain, you know, a brain that's been exposed to these drugs, there's certain things you see in the environment that would make you want to use. So for us, now we might sit here and we'll see lighters and, you know, cigarette packs, empty box. It means nothing to us. But someone that has been exposed to that drug, seeing that, it can be a trigger for relapse. He sees it and it's like, at that minute, it's like, I need to use right now. I need to use. Just watching, that's what we're really concerned about, the media. Watching some of these videos where they're smoking, and someone that has been sober for 6 months might just sit and watch one of those videos, and then at that point. So for us at Freedom Foundation, we're very particular about teaching them ways to cope in those situations, yes, because it's very important. Those situations will come because of the kind of environment we live in. Those situations will come. So we empower them we teach them how to, you know, overcome those situations.
Oh, when I think of Femi Anikulapo-Kuti, he's a musician. His father he used to smoke. And this is a man that just decided he doesn't drink, doesn't smoke. Same with his son, Madi, doesn't drink, doesn't smoke. So when we see this kind of examples, we now query you psychologists, like, you guys, do you really know what you're talking about? Because there is a man called Fela. He did everything in the books that was wrong.
And then the kids
and his kids are here and just says no. So can there be that drastic change that, you know what, I'm just not going that route? Though, because you're not modeling your father, you love your father. You love your father, you didn't model your father, you just chose a different path. Is that possible?
So that at some point, that might have to do with the support system he had growing up. And then he would have seen the things that the drug... So as a child growing up, you see certain things. You see what the drug has done to that person. You have children of alcoholics, you have a son and a daughter. The son might become an alcoholic and the daughter might not, because she's seen what the drug has done to the father. So these things affect the children in different ways. The personality of the child has a big role, yes, to play. And then the support system.
Okay, so for the two things I wanted to cite. One is, based on your experience, do we have more women exposed to this than men? I'm just asking, so that, because I have boys, I'm always feeling like I'm under extra pressure when it comes to drugs and all of that, especially because right within my neighborhood, my kids are 7 and below, and they see people smoke, and it looks cool. So I've been asked that when I grow up, can I smoke?
Yes.
And I thought about it like, why even thinking about it? And because everybody outside, when we are coming inside, everybody is smoking. As I said, it doesn't mean it is cool. They are killing themselves. They are going to die. You know, like, I picked the worst scenario possible. But I also understand it might be that would help them understand that there's a negative side effects to this thing. So do you advise parents to go into that if you get into drugs, you become a junkie, you will die, you will become crazy, you will be roaming the streets mad.
So in that situation, we really don't want you to be dramatic at that point. Yes, I want you to, at that point to sit the child down and have a thorough conversation. They have access to information on Google. Everything is on the internet, really. So at that point, instead of being dramatic and sit the child down and educate the child, really be sincere. Don't educate and say, oh, madness. Educate the child and just be sincere, because everything is on the internet.
Let me take this call. Please reduce the volume of your TV so you can talk to us directly. Thanks, Daniel, again. Go ahead.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
They do teach us in school. And they say that sometimes that drugs, but I don't know the effect of that Tramadol.
I don't know the effects of it. They teach them,
but they don't talk about the effects of Tramadol.
Okay, so the effects of Tramadol, yes, go ahead.
Is he using it?
Are you using Tramadol?
Maybe he's open to it.
We lost them. Okay, so but people are wondering, because kids get
Tramadol is originally a pain medication. It belongs to the opioid family, and the opioids are used for severe pain. So in terms of pain management, we have different grades of medication. The lowest grade can be maybe paracetamol, and then when you go to the higher range, you talk about things like opioids. But opioids are left for severe pain for a reason, because we know that opioids are addictive. So it's not, I have a headache, take an opioid. That's not what we give it for. We give it for really severe situations. People with sickle cell crisis.
Interesting.
To answer Daniel's question, the issue is Tramadol, you become addicted to it. You are not able to be stable and function well without that drug.
Interesting. I was in a car accident many years ago. In the car, I have a skull fracture in my right femur. And they prescribed a strong painkiller for an opioid for me. But the doctor cancelled it. He said, you know what, you're better off managing that pain. Go through that pain. Because if you become addicted to this thing, you become a junkie. So even as a doctor, he told me it's going to be painful, but just continue. Eventually, your body gets used to that pain. So you're right, it's a very, very addictive substance.
So really, it has no reason. They have no reason
I wanted
trying
to
Tramadol.
talk about parents again. Because as a child, I remembered when we put on the stove, we play with the matches. And what we've seen in the movies is that they blow out smoke from their mouth, so we all do. And I remember my mom, as harmless as I thought it was, the slapping. I just cannot forget that slap.
It resets your brain.
It resets my brain, I'm telling you. So how much should parents look out for the most harmless situations where children, because of these excesses that you end up as you call fun and you end up as a junkie with?
You shouldn't really encourage behaviors that glamorize drug addiction. So anything that makes addiction look glamorous, you shouldn't actually encourage it, truly. And as parents, it's important for us to look out for signs. So you have your child very free with you, playing with you, but the child at some point starts to become secretive, hiding things from you, changes their friends. You know the friends, but suddenly there's this new set of friends, and they're always quiet around you. Hush, hush, they don't say much. They just come.
Let me take this call. Ezekiel, are you still there?
They don't do it now.
Go ahead, please, Ezekiel.
Go
What did you say? Ezekiel, you're live. Go ahead, please.
Something is wrong with the phone line. I am concerned because we have young children here, and some of our children are going to secondary school.
Ezekiel, are you still there?
Yes.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I just want to quickly find out from the psychiatrist, how long does because we discovered that the drug abuse in the society these days is getting more rampant, despite government steps towards reducing or eradicating it possibly. I just want to know, how long does this take in the blood system of the victim? Because most of the youth of nowadays, that is what most of them goes into. They believe that is the only thing that can make them to be active, which is on the wrong side.
How long does it stay in the system?
How long does it stay in the system then?
Thank you very much, Ezekiel.
What the government is doing. So, one, he asked that the government is supposed to be fighting this. How come it's still everywhere? Then, two, how long does this drug stay within the system?
So, in terms of staying in the system, there are different classes of drugs. So, in terms of that, it depends on the drug we're talking about. Some of them, from things like, if you talk about drugs like cocaine, within 2 hours, the effect of that has worn off. And that's why you find the person that uses cocaine. Yes. Because, no, not overdose. They keep going back because the effect wears off quickly. With something like cannabis, you use but it now becomes like an inactive metabolite. So it's still in your system, but it's no longer active. So even if we test you like a month after, we'll still see cannabis in your system, but it's not an active metabolite. So it all depends on the type of drug you're using.
Treatment for this thing. Because I was grateful that there's a foundation like yours, but I also know that you don't have enough capacity to handle the number of people that need your help. Somebody watching right now has children or someone close to them that is addicted and they're trying to find a way to help that person. What is the general process they should follow? Because some just go to church and do deliverance.
So we want to, disabuse that mentality that, it's a demonic or spiritual thing. They need medical care, really. They're taking a drug, really. So we need to get them off. It's those drugs that are changing their behaviors because those drugs are working on the brain. So for us, we have 2 centers. We have the drop-in center, which is like a day center sponsored by the United Nations. They can come in there daily. It's a place of peace, a place of solace. They come in. They have access to care, medical care, psychological care, and we help them address any social issues they might be going through. And in addition to that, we also address their spiritual care because we're a faith-based organization. Aside from the drop-in center, we also have a residential program where you stay for a minimum of 3 months. You get the same kind of care you get in the drop-in center. It's just that is residential. You can't leave the center for 3 months. So if you need to speak with us or speak with just
other places,
there are other centers too. But I can
online. Can tell us about it.
So if you go to our website.
I'm more concerned about prevention because we wait for us to see people who are really into the addiction and then we are looking for places to take them to. But we know that if we start early with our children, we can prevent them from even getting into it in the first place. I have a child who probably going into secondary school and going to boarding house. And I'm afraid because I don't know, most of these boarding houses these days, we can't guarantee. If a child is home and the child is changing, you can easily notice as a parent. But now the child is going out there where there are lots of children, you can't guarantee the care. How do we prevent our children from getting into this?
Okay, first, we've talked about having that conversation earlier. Talked about that before. And I also say you should know your child. Not every child is suited for boarding house, truly. You should know your child. So child number 1 might be ideal for boarding house, but child number 2, if you see some children have traits, certain low self-esteem traits, you see they're not able to, when they even have issues, they're not able to come out and tell, Mommy, help me, I need help, Mommy. If you notice that in your child, maybe you should let the child still stay at home for junior secondary, and you as a parent work on getting help for that child. So you work, even if the child needs to see a child psychologist, you might have to resort to that, but try and work on that child. And then maybe in senior secondary, you can now make that attempt to go.
So when you see that independence
So know that child, yes, know your child. If you see some of those deficits, try and work, don't just assume, work on it and then.
I think we have to wrap up this segment. It's really, we have a lot to talk about with you. We have to bring you back because a lot of parents are worried about drug abuse. Some have spouses that smoke, that drink, and it's not such a bad thing because their dads are not alcoholics and their dads are not junkies. So it's like a normal bad habit, like you sleep too much, you eat too much, the regular. So it doesn't make the kids a junkie. But the problem is that how do we draw that line between excessive use of these things and the casual use. So we have to, but unfortunately we have to wrap up. Maybe we have to bring you back again. But thank you so much for coming. Let's go on a break. When we come back, hopefully we start talking about immunization. I have a 3-month-old baby. Please help my life. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So in commemorating World Immunization Week, which is always celebrated in the last week of April, and the aim is to promote the use of vaccines to protect people of all ages against diseases and save a lot of lives. We have in the studio with us Dr. Tunji Funsho, the chairman, Nigeria National Polio Plus Committee. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much for having me.
Join the conversation 070-806-68014. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. Immunization, especially polio. I must actually celebrate Nigeria on the work being done concerning polio. Almost every child you see in Nigeria get that polio vaccine. You don't see you in daycare, you see it in school. You don't see it in school, your house, they are everywhere. Like, hey, goodness, my daughter just had, please calm down, you know. So obviously, a lot of work has been done concerning polio. But my worry concerning vaccination is the costs, the availability especially, because for something so basic as immunization, you would think that it should be free across board, but it's not. Why is it still so expensive to pay for vaccines for kids?
As a matter of fact, in this country, you know, vaccines are free.
Supposed to be.
Except, you know, you go to private institutions. But all public institutions,
1,000, you still pay
all public institutions, you know, actually vaccination, you know, are free.
Oh, wow.
So if anyone is charging you in a public space, hospital, primary health care center, take it up. Okay. You're not supposed to pay for immunization in Nigeria in the public sector. But of course, you know, you have a choice if you opt to go to a private environment. Yes.
I know that some children have minor reactions when they take their immunizations, and sometimes it becomes major. Like I remember when my daughter was 2 and she had this, there was one she was given, I can't remember the exact one, and then for days she had serious fever. It was really going up and coming down. So what do you do in a case where your child has gotten immunized and then there are serious reactions?
Well, the thing is to take them back, you know, to a qualified medical practitioner, let them check the child up to know perhaps it's a coincidence that the child has something else that was brewing before they have the immunization. Usually, the fever following immunization are transient. They don't last more than a day. And just, you know, some analgesics that are okay for children can be given to them, and usually they'll be all right, you know, with that.
Let's talk about the importance of immunization generally, because as shocking as it seems, in Lagos I found parents who think it's not important.
It's not a big deal.
It's not a big deal.
For real?
I can't go and queue for that number of people in the local primary healthcare centers. So just for the benefit of those of them who might be watching, I'd like you to highlight how important it is.
Well, the importance, you know, I think, let me talk about our level of infant and child mortality. And a lot of the illnesses that children die from are preventable. They are preventable by vaccines, be they pneumonias, be they measles or tetanus. Children don't die as often from polio. But the challenge is that people don't know whether a child has died of polio, because polio deaths are used to paralysis of the respiratory muscle. A child has a fever, and before they even get paralyzed, they're dead. But it is very rare. It's about, you know, 1 in every 200 children who contract the polio virus actually get paralyzed. It's a 1 in 1,000 who may contact the virus and die from the disease. So these are things that, you know, parents should be aware of. You know, that immunizing a child actually protects the child against dying and contributing to the statistics.
We have to round up. I need to just ask this final question. Just clarify. If you go to a public hospital, every vaccine you get there is sufficient and it's free. Because when you go to private hospital, they make you look as if, they make you feel as though what you're being given at the public hospital is not enough. That it doesn't give you the full protection. That you need to get paid for these extra ones to give your child the perfect. And because as a parent, you want the best for your child. So just give us the difference. Is it better you go to the private hospital to get the additional immunization, or what you get in the public hospital is sufficient?
In fact, I think you stand a better chance of getting the best vaccine in a public hospital than in a private hospital.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. All right. So not these extra ones, not necessary?
No.
Okay. Eating our money.
Chopping my money, 22,000 naira.
I'm telling you.
I'm telling you.
Hey, can you imagine this one? Welcome to the General Hospital Club.
This is my matron. I hope you are hearing. I'm just paying 1 naira for this vaccine. I'm going next week. You don't hear. That's all we can take on the show.
Direct you.
Okay, tomorrow is our live audience show. Please come early so you can get a seat. Have a fabulous day. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.